Let's make the phone call to my buddy from the doctor.
I guess I would call it the interesting person.
He's Dr. Bob.
I hate to say it like that.
Dr. Bob.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, I can hear you. What's up, Dr. Bob? How are you, sir?
Oh, wonderful. I just got an implant in my mouth from a tooth that they pulled out. Took a year to get it,
Wow. Well, thank God that you have the implant and everything's good. And,
yes, everything's good.
To give everybody really quick and not to get too crazy personal, but this guy goes to my church and he is a regular day goer just like myself. And so we are buddies now, and he told me today after Mass that he in his former life, or is currently practicing, I'm not sure, but he is a doctor of medicine, actually a surgeon. And I thought that was very interesting because of the dichotomy of usually you hear of people who are like scientists or doctors or things that are very worldly practices. And maybe it's not true. I don't know. Maybe I just have a false statistic built up in my brain, but my assumption would be that many would be not have faith. They would just be kind of more worldly and stuff. Maybe even take like the secular or atheist approach. What say you, Dr. Bob?
Well, I graduated medical school in mid-'80s, and I was taught by the medical people community in the World Health Organization, and I did a lot of offshore lecture, being taught by these men, about 300 different experts. So I learned a little different things in the United States. The United States doctors are usually being followed the pharmaceutical protocol, and that's how they get their funding and learn a lot more about specific things in medicine. And I spent, when I graduated medical school in the mid-'80s, I spent most of my time, almost all of my time in surgery. And when I was going through medical school, I prayed to God and I said, well, I want to be a little country doctor in a farm country and raise a family. Well, I raised a family, my wife and I. We have a bunch of kids. And God said, no. You go to the trauma center. I said, what? I don't want to go to the trauma center. Ended up spending probably close to 30 years in trauma, doing a lot of trauma in the middle of the night with the surgeons that bring other trauma people in, and was on call. It was quite an experience, quite a learning experience, and it brought me closer to God. When I saw all the things that were going on, I said, Lord, you got me in the right spot. So that's it in a nutshell. But I'm retired now for about 12 years, and I'm enjoying life.
Wow.
That's it.
So did you, when you tapped me on the shoulder when we first met, you asked me if I had gone to Catholic school, and you said that you could just tell. Did you go to Catholic school as well?
Yes, I did. I graduated at Catholic University also. And then when I was growing up and graduated, I guess in my 20s, I said to the Lord, I says, how come people are not in church anymore? Our Catholic University had a chapel and everybody had Mass. I mean, they had priests would come and say Mass at noon, and I'd run out there and say Mass in Latin, and I really enjoyed it. That was a big step in my spiritual life. I started going into the church, and then we lost some of the children when we were married for 50 years now, my wife and I, and we had some trauma there, and that brought me even closer to God. And so
I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. They're in heaven. And God started tapping me on the shoulder more and more as I started into my medical career. So that's where I'm at right now.
But you said to me that you actually would pray in the medical room.
Well, let me tell you a story. You'll love it. There's about 100 stories I could tell you right now, but the one I wanted to really, the Lord put on my heart is that this little baby was a year and a half old or so, and he was in a car seat, and the parents had the top down. The car was in an accident, flipped upside down. The kid came in the middle of the night. Ooh. So his top of his head was pretty much crushed in, and we were in the middle of the night trying to help this kid survive, and one of the, one of the medical people says, "No, this kid's not going to make it." I said, Tom, the old additive, when you don't know what to do, you just keep on doing surgery. Well, when we finished up, of course, I prayed for the kid underneath my breath, I guess you would say, and Lord was listening, and the kid, we fixed the bones and put it all back together, cracked egg, and it ended up the kid left the hospital in 6 weeks. He was doing fine.
Wow,
nice,
a miracle.
Now, were a lot of other doctors like that too? Did other doctors share? Did they have faith as well? Some of your colleagues and stuff. Can you tell me about that? Some insight, maybe.
Yeah, I had. Most of my friends were foreign graduates in the places I've been in, the many hospitals, and they have seen a lot, and they've been persecuted, and we became good friends, and most of them have gone through their journey in a very difficult time. So they're the believers. They trust in Jesus, and that always inspired my trust. Most of the medical schools in the United States are being taught and nourished by the pharmaceutical companies, which they have the money to take care of their people. So if you're a believer in Jesus Christ, well, that's not a popular item especially in surgery. But I've worked with a lot of them that believe in God, but I'd say the majority don't even believe in God.
And that's so crazy. Like I can't even picture leaving my life up to somebody who doesn't believe in God. It's sad. And I've been through a lot of death and stuff. My father passed away. He had glioblastoma multiforme, and I remember the doctor, the surgeon, he yelled at me when I brought up marijuana. He screamed at me like I was a little child right in front of everybody.
What? Why?
Dude, this guy was such an egotistical scum. I could just tell.
I actually did a lot of surgery and brain surgery. That was one of my fortes with my proctor, which is 40 years of neurosurgeon. We operated in the brain, and he says, "Bob, put your finger in the brain." I said, "What?" I was an intern. I said, "What? What are you talking about?" And I get the feel down there in the brain, and we pulled out the glioblastomas. Some of them did very well.
Mm-hmm.
But and I would tell them to my surgeon, neurosurgeon, I'd say, "Hey, God's wonderful. He's fabulous." He said, "Who's God?" I mean, they were trained by like I say, people that don't believe in God.
Mm-hmm. I think that's terrible, man. I don't know. Because I think science and stuff like that becomes their God. And, human beings, I know you, and you go to my church and you're a great guy, but you're just a dude, Let me tell you another story. I got to tell you another story. My first day in the major trauma surgeon hospital, the surgeon threw a pliers across the room and started blaspheming God. I went to confession. I said, "Father, what am I going to do with this guy? If I speak up, he'd probably kick me out, and I'll never see the light of day."
Well, the priest said, in a nice way, tell them you're blaspheming God and you could hurt somebody and don't do it. This guy owned multiple HMOs. I mean, he was the founder of HMOs.
Okay, yeah, I know about that. I was in health insurance. I had a health insurance agency at one point.
He was the founder of HMO. I mean, the guy was.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, the next day he started to do that. And he started mumbling, real whisper in his mind. Ed, please, that's my guy. Don't do that, and don't throw that. You know, as meek as I could say it. And he says, Dr. Bob, you're right. Thanks for telling me. We became good friends, and we operated all the time on necks and backs. And he wanted to take me, to Russia and travel with him. I said, hey, come on, man. I got kids at home. What are you talking about?
Well, I appreciate people that tell me the truth like that, and they don't hold back. People that, even though you said it as meek as you could, people that are honest, regardless of whatever, you just say, you have to say the truth, and it's making you uncomfortable. And that's awesome that he respected you. And
well, real trick for me that I learned in my years. I'm now in the 80s. The real trick in me is I ask the Holy Spirit to speak for me, and He comes through my voice. In the old days when I was an intern, I was frightened and I didn't know what to do. And the Holy Spirit said, "Don't worry about it. Don't fear. Don't worry about it." And next thing I know, that He was right there, and I was speaking the right words. And this guy heard the Lord's voice through me.
Really?
Yeah, and he changed.
Hey, that's awesome. Let me ask you this before I let you go, because we had a long show and I want to get you on sometime for an extended interview. We gotta talk about that and think about that. But
sure.
What is your position on? All right, I'm gonna tell you straight up. When I go to church, when I go to mass, a lot of times I'm meditating. Okay, like if somebody's in a lotus position in the Far East. Well, I'm kneeling, and I'm shutting my brain off, and I'm being quiet, and I'm doing a silent prayer. Actually, what we talked about today, we're talking about today on the show in the good news, is the fact, and I don't know if we touched on it that much in Mass, but the main message of the Mass today was basically says God insists on silence as the means to communicate the depths of Himself. So I kind of just meditate and chill and just be quiet and just let my brain shut off. And I think of like the whole, it doesn't matter what I say, because God knows what's in my heart, right? He knows what I need. I don't need to sit there and have a laundry list of things that, please do this, please do that. No, I just be quiet. What do you think about meditation and spirituality being together? Huh?
My hero is Fulton J. Sheen. He was on TV. I don't know if you know about him.
Say his name one more time, please.
Fulton Sheen. Fulton Sheen. He was on TV in the 50s, and he won the Academy Award for CBS and all that. He had a daily show, and he said, prayer is good, but if you keep your mouth shut, God will talk to you. Essentially, and he's up for sainthood right now. He's blessed, and Fulton J. Sheen is his name. You can look him up.
I'm going to look him up.
Yeah, he's really phenomenal. And he talked in the 50s, and he was like light years ahead of what's happening now. He's really, really great. My thing is that he said, go to adoration and with the monstrum and the Eucharist as much as you can, and receive daily the Eucharist and pray the Rosary. And that was his motto. That was his forte. So that's what I follow.
Well, right before the Eucharist is my favorite part. When we start kneeling, that's my favorite part, because I'm just in basically meditation mode, and I'm just silently praying.
Yeah.
Quietly praying. and I'm doing that, and that's like the best time for me. That time, then you get up and then you say the Our Father, and you kind of seal the deal a little bit, and then you go, and then you know, I mean, and then peace, that right there, asking for peace and stuff, because the whole point of Mass for me is peace. You know, getting that daily peace.
Yeah. Well, the thing for me is that when the Eucharist is elevated and the wine's elevated, I said, God, another miracle. I'm awestruck. God, another miracle. You're coming into our church.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, right. I'm going to let you go. We're going to continue on. I hope you have a great day. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. And I will see you probably Sunday, maybe.
A rosary day for you, for your podcast, and for your work. God bless you. I'm going
to start getting into the rosary more.
Oh yeah,
love you. I'm bringing a rosary to Mass next time or next week. All right.
Sure. Good. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye. See you, friend.
Yeah. Bye.
That was Dr. Bob.
Fulton Sheen, actually, he had a show on for 20 years called The Catholic Hour on NBC.
Got to check him out. And but for some reason, talk about meditation, and he brought him up.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he said that. He talked about that stuff.
And fun thing for you. Fulton John Sheen, born, actually, Peter John Sheen.
Okay.
May 8th of 1895, and he passed on December 9th of 1979, was an American bishop of the Catholic Church.
Okay.
And known for his...
Wait, I think I've heard of him before now. Yes, he was like the first Catholic show.
Television personality.
Yes, he was. Yes, I've heard of, I think I may have at some point, I'm a crazy documentary person, right? I think I've seen some kind of documentary about him.
Here's the cool part. Sheen twice won an Emmy Award for most outstanding television personality.
No kidding.
And was featured on the cover of Time magazine.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't seem like he was like as I would put it, like a TV personality, like a fake persona.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed to, from what, again, this is Wikipedia, from what it's saying, it seemed like he actually was like about this too. I mean, being a bishop, like he wasn't just reach one level and then stop. Like, I mean, he was a bishop. That's pretty high up, right?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So, but there's a lot of personalities now. There's like a father on here. I would love to get some of these guys on here now that we are doing this focus. Mm-hmm. At some point, there's some kind of, he's got a podcast that says read the Bible in 365 days, which essentially we're doing now, just so you guys know.
Just about, I believe. Yeah. Probably.
And we're starting with we basically started with Pentecost, which is the birth of the church. We started with Khan's birthday. That was the first episode. And then, which is fitting, because we basically started talking about, the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church started then too.
Yeah. On June
3rd, I think. I think it's the 3rd.
3rd or 4th. I want to say 3rd.
I think it was the 3rd.
Yeah. It was one of those days.
It's Pentecost Sunday.
Yeah.
And so that was when the church began. So anyway, it's kind of fitting. And I love, I don't know, just talking to him just now.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about that? I mean,
why I was speechless was because I'm still wrapping my head around that. Wow, like a surgeon.
Do you think there's superstition, like major superstition with his belief system? And Father Bob, if you're listening right now, I'm sorry. We're soul analyzing and psychoanalyzing the whole situation. This is just comparative philosophies. Right now, we're on Catholicism.
I looked it up earlier when he was on.
Mm-hmm.
Are medical professionals religious?
Yes.
Primary care physicians or medical specialists represent 74.1%. 23.6% were in surgical specialty.
Yeah.
So, like on that end,
yeah. I mean, he's
less surgeons are
doctors
religious.
anyway.
Yeah.
Huh?
More of the physicians and medical specialists, they're geared more religious, statistically speaking.
But not surgeons.
Right. They're at
Surgeons
20.
is kind of like crazy for the surgeon. It's like,
I mean,
it's an anomaly.
Yeah, it's like 75% of all medical professionals or primary care physicians or medical specialists, 75% of them are religious in one way or another, while only under 25% of the surgical people are religious.
Wow.
I mean, oh wait, hold on. This is a funny last one. And 2.3% were psychotherapists. So like any of the psychiatric fields, 2.3 of them are religious.
Wow.
That,
So it's kind of like missing in a lot of those studies, right?
yeah, in the surgical field and
Science in general,
in general, I would
which is
definitely
kind of
say.
crazy too, because to look at, isn't that insane? It's amazing, right?
It's not amazing.
It's outstanding.
Pow!